The Tiny Podcast is a Better Manchester initiative. Visit www.bettermanchester.com/subscribe to learn more. When you subscribe to Better Manchester, you'll have full access to captivating featured stories, uplifting ideas, and helpful community updates. We hope you subscribe and join us in this next evolution of #BetterManchester. Connect on any device at any time to Better Manchester today. Better Manchester, connecting communities. Everything in life is somewhere else, and you get there in a car. E.B. White. When you ask someone why they love cars so much, there are many different answers. For some, it is the escape to the open road, while for others, it's just the build. Here in Manchester, people come together not just in a physical sense, but as a community for the biggest car show we can muster, Cruisin on Main. But this isn't just a car show. This is a community and volunteer-driven event that brings small businesses and the people together. So, in the spirit of that community, allow me to welcome Larry Ash, part of the Gearhead Mafia of Connecticut, as well as one of the head coordinators of Cruisin on Main. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Ward, and welcome to the Tiny Podcast. So, Larry, thank you for being here. We'll get started. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out today. So, you are one of the main people for Cruisin on Main. First year I helped out was this past year in 2022. For people who might not know, what is Cruisin on Main? What is the event itself?
Well, Cruisin on Main is, brings the town together, I think. There's over 16,000 spectators come. So, obviously it's a car show, but there's more to it than just that. There's, lots of food vendors, the local restaurants. So we're trying to combine a car show with bringing everybody in the town together and also supporting local businesses on Main Street. So
yeah,
it's kind of like a combined effort from, my car club and me running it now along with committee members and, trying to get everything organized and have a good day so everybody could have an enjoyable day.
Yeah, I could say that when I was there, this past year, I thought it was going to be a car show. I was, just expecting cars, and that was pretty much it. And see, I got my hair cut at the event this past year. The amount of vendors that you guys bring in is just absolutely, astonishing. So when do you start that process? So the event this past year was in August of 2022. When did you start planning for this event?
Well, usually, the show's August. We take a couple months off and then start right back on it again. So, this time of year, right now in October, we start working on next year's show, and sometimes we even start sooner because, obviously, if you're trying to get specialty people or vehicles there, they want to be, a year out at least, But, we start. It's just a monthly meeting, but obviously as things get closer, it gets more and more, we have meetings twice, 3 times a month.
Who comes to these meetings?
Well, it's all volunteers. It's people that are some are car people, some aren't car people, but, it's all volunteers that want to see the show continue. And, obviously over the years, we've had multiple people that have now moved on or retired, so obviously we're always looking for new people to help that are interested in keeping the show going. That's a lot of work.
Do they have to be from Manchester, or is it you guys are open to pretty much anybody who's willing to help out?
Anybody that's willing to just support the show, and obviously we want to keep it alive and continue it, but it's like I said, it's not a one-man show. It's a lot of people that we need to combine effort, to help make it happen.
Yeah.
It's a big show. So.
It is a big show. Yeah. What time do you get there in the morning? So the day of the actual Cruisin event, what time are you there? Like
I was 4:30 a.m.
4:30 a.m. on Main Street, Manchester.
Yeah, it's early in the morning. We had things to take care of, and obviously we have our sponsors that help and stuff too. But we had to have tents and stuff set up on the street, so that can't really happen till that.
So who
morning.
plans all that though? All those tents, where the tents are, where things go. Who plans that?
Well, I mean, it's a combined effort. But basically, I probably do most of the layout because I organize it. But obviously, as we get sponsors, we want to make sure they're happy.
Right.
So if they need not just a tent, but they want to bring a specialty car, so their car could be next to their tent or in front of their tent. So there is a lot of coordination to make that happen.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of moving parts to make sure everyone's kind of happy, keeping everybody where they in line. I see that. Yeah.
Well, sometimes last minute things change and now you're shuffling things around, but once you have that layout, it's hard to really maneuver a lot of it. So if I have a sponsor that says they're going to bring 3 cars and then the day of the show they bring 4 or 2, it obviously changes everything. So it kind of sometimes is hectic.
What do you do in those situations? Do you just have to kind of go with it and say, okay, whatever, let's just make it happen, or
Well, actually, this year, there was a couple changes, and some of them weren't too bad. But I actually had my actual car club moving a couple tents that morning because they were already set up, but we wanted to make it, so there's no holes in the show. We want to make sure that it's, everybody gets their spot and they're happy, because they're helping us produce the show and making it happen. So we try to do our best to help them.
Let's start with cars. How many cars generally are you looking at per event?
Well, I mean, it depending on the weather, obviously, because sometimes it's very hot and all this other stuff, but it's usually 800 cars approximately.
Wow, yeah.
And that fills the street. I mean, I know a couple years back, we had cars and we didn't have anywhere to put them. I mean, we hate turning anybody away.
Of course.
We got people coming from Mass, Rhode Island, all over New England almost to come to this show because it's a very popular show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't want to turn anyone away, so we try to make sure, that we can maximize.
What are some of the challenges that you experience on any given year? Like, what do you normally face when on the day of or even leading up to it that can be? I know you mentioned people bring more cars or less cars. Is that pretty much the biggest thing, or is there some other things that have happened that it's made it a little complicated?
We've done it for. I've only been on the committee probably 6-7 years, but the show's been going for over 20 years. So
right.
There's kind of like a roadmap, and we kind of follow that and try to build up to that so that we double check everything to try to make sure it goes as smooth as possible day of the show.
Yeah.
But there's always something.
Yeah. I definitely get that. Yeah, there's whether it's water or somebody needs something, or where's the food, or where's the. I don't know how you keep your cool. I mean, maybe would you equate it to years of experience with it? But I mean, you were just calm and collected all day. You were just moving through. Okay, let's just do the next thing.
Maybe it seemed that way, but inside, I was a wreck until I want, like I said, we're trying to make it so the sponsors that help us put on this show are happy and make sure that they have what they need so that they'll come back and help us because it's it
mutual.
helps the town. So I mean, I think that's the key. I was definitely wanting to make sure that the sponsors are where they want to be, happy and everything, and get what they need. And obviously, we want to make sure everybody has a good time at the show. So that's the key. Once I guess it was all started rolling, it calms down a little bit. But up to making sure everybody's in the right spot and everything's rolling smoothly, and then you never know on the temperature, the weather, that how many cars are you gonna get? How many, and want to make sure that, like I said, even the people bringing the cars are really what makes the show too. I mean, for years, all these people have bring their cars to Cruisin'.
Right.
And without the cars, we don't have a show.
Yeah,
either. So
yeah.
we tried, like, this year we went back to giving back goodie bags and stuff like that. And we try, I don't know if you've seen the trophies. They're not like a standard plastic trophy you go to a car show. We try to have a higher, standard for the trophies and stuff like that. So everybody involved is good and happy. And obviously, I know the people bringing the cars are paying to bring their cars in, so they get their money's worth, but they also know that all that money is going to charity. It ain't like we're using it for anything but charity.
Yeah. Every year I feel like it's a reset. You're just starting over from nothing again and say, okay, let's get those sponsors back, let's get these people back, let's get these volunteers back. So what are some of those roadblocks that you're facing within keeping Cruisin' is based a lot on sponsors and about people participating, whether it's cars or volunteers. Is that a kind of, not a concern, but something that you're thinking about, is just how many volunteers or how many sponsors you have right now, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, it's a key concern is, like, obviously we have some sponsors that come back year after year and they've supported the show and we're really appreciative of that. But, we understand times change and businesses change and they might not have the money. So we're always looking for new sponsors or car-related sponsors or anything like that too, because to make it a complete show. Yeah. But the other main concern is people. People come to the day of the show, they say, oh, it was a good show and everything else, but the effort that goes in by the volunteers is what makes the show, because I know last year was extra difficult because, sponsorships and everything else, and we had some people retire, so to fill that gap I was doing like 3 people's job, and I didn't enjoy that.
Of course not.
But we want to keep the show going. I've lived in Manchester my whole life. I've went to the show for many years. I have a truck that I would bring every year, and so I want to keep the show alive and going and make it fun for everybody for the day, but without the people volunteering to help put on the show, because there's so many aspects of the show that people don't realize, and the costs of the show, that it costs money to put on a show of this size and magnitude. It's
a big show. It is it may some people might hear the numbers or whatever, but when you're there and you're seeing, it is packed from, I think when did it open? Maybe 10 a.m. Approximately.
10 to 3.
10 to 3, and from 10 to 3, it is wall to wall. People, like you said, you got the restaurants open, people sitting outside, people walking through. If somebody wants to volunteer, how can they contact you? What's the best? Either should they contact you? Is there a website? Is there a Facebook group, something like that?
Well, obviously through Facebook we have Cruisin' on Main. On the Facebook page there's a messenger button there that would go directly to me, and I'm the chairman of the show, so I would get back to them, and basically, like I said, that would help outrageously right now, because like I said, we're trying to improve the show but that costs us time to, I can't do everybody's job, so the more sponsors we have, obviously it takes more pressure off of everybody that is helping. So, and I mean, my car club, the Gearhead Mafia, has been unbelievable, because they knew I took on the show, but I usually would help just park cars and run the gates and all that stuff, and now they've had to take over that part, but not only that, assist me, because I feel bad for my club almost, because I didn't, I've put them in a position where they're even doing more work than they were doing before, but they're great guys. Everybody's tries to be cordial and nice to everybody that comes to the show, because that's the key for everybody to have a great day and have a good time, and we do our best, and I've had nothing but good comments for most of the people that have come to the show, so it makes me feel real good about not only, the show, but the people that are working the show are putting so much effort, because like I said, this past year you've seen the temperatures were very warm, and that makes it harder than, because we've had other years where it was like not too bad, 75, 80 degrees, and it seems like it's a lot easier than when you're running around in 90-degree weather.
Yeah. It's a long day at that point. Jeez Louise. All right, well, so let's finish up. What makes Cruisin so special for you? What either memories or just the environment or the energy? What's special about Cruisin?
Well, multiple things. I think one of the things is you see so many variety of cars that you wouldn't normally see at a smaller show.
Okay.
I mean, you see cars that I've never seen my whole life, and I've been a car guy my whole life, so you see that.
Yeah.
And then me personally, I've been going for probably at least 12 years before I even started, working the show. And it was, like I said, with my friends, we all get together and we ride up together and go in and park together, and you hang out for the day. It's just a day of just enjoyment of, like I said, seeing cars that you never get to see. And then sometimes you see some specialty cars or something like that, like I said, you wouldn't normally ever see them.
Yeah.
Like we had, like this year we had the Voodoo car, which was like something I've never seen. It's all custom, and then we've had other like monster trucks and all kinds of stuff. So every year, that's the thing, we're trying to add more to it, something that you've never seen before, or something to like enhance the show, because we do have the live bands and everything, and we had like 6 bands playing this year, which is more than I think we've ever had. I mean, so it's been great memories for me, but it's a whole new level when you're having to actually run the show. It's still enjoyable, trust me. It's just that you don't realize how much effort needs to go into making it so that everybody has a great day, because there's all kinds of issues that you can come across,
Yeah. That you guys are constantly changing behind the scenes too. You guys are. I think a lot of people, they don't see that stuff either, because you guys are doing a good job of fixing it, of settling it before it happens. I feel like, or while it's happening.
Well, like even this past year, I had reached out to more and more specialty cars, and I had promises from this guy, promises they're coming, but then they see the weather forecast or something, or they got sick, so it's like now the day of the show you had 5 other specialty cars and they're not there, and now you're like trying to scramble to fill the holes, but but I think people realize also that it's part of the show is adapting, and the team at least is adapting and just doing the best we can to make everybody have a good day, and a good time. And like I said, for over 20 years, it's just, I grew up in Manchester, and I just didn't want to see the show go away, because so many things you see today are going away, and once they're gone, they don't come back. And so to me, it's just
keeping it alive.
Keeping it alive. I've been part of Manchester my whole life. I grew up in Manchester, so I just have a hard time letting it go. I have people tell me, "Oh, you don't have to do this." And I said, "Well, if I don't do it, who's gonna do it?" And I'm not saying there isn't anybody that couldn't do it, but I'm just saying.
But nobody's stepping up. Nobody's doing what you're doing, Larry, and saying, "Well, I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna do it."
And like I said, with my club, it's what makes it happen, because without them, I couldn't do it. So.
Well, we thank the Gearhead Mafia for helping as well. Yeah,
definitely. And we have like other, people that volunteer their time too. So it's like, it's. I know these days people are busy and everything else, but this is something that, like I said, if it goes away, it's probably not going to come back, and that's why it's important that we get volunteers, or if anybody wants to help us, we would would love to have you help us. But it takes a commitment, because, I mean, you have to, I'm not saying everybody has to make every single meeting, but, it's important, because we're relying on each other to do a certain job when we have on a committee like that. And if that job gets done, then somebody else has got to pick up the slack. So it's like we need people that want to do it, can do it, and like I said, it helps if they enjoy cars.
Obviously,
but it doesn't have to be like the all end all situation. Just it makes it help that they understand the whole.
Makes it easier.
Yeah, but like I said, we've had people that know nothing about cars, but they want to help, and that's great. I mean, because there's so many facets, like sponsorships and trophies we have to get done, and
there's a lot.
Yeah, porta potties, everything. I mean, I mean, it's funny, but I'm just saying, there's dumpsters, there's garbage collection, there's.
I mean, moving water. I mean, moving food. Taking like accepting things in as.
I know you helped out. You stepped right in this year, and we appreciate it.
Oh, it was you guys did so. I helped out compared to what you guys were doing. I am glad to help Larry, but you guys did an amazing job with the work you guys did.
Well, like I said, every year we're trying to improve things, but it's like I said, we're always trying to even just change it up a little. I mean, we want to keep the tradition of the show.
Of course.
We're not changing major changes, but it's nice to have some new attraction.
Yeah.
Some new thing to look at every year.
Yeah.
Not the same thing.
Yeah, you get the comfort of, this is what I know about Cruisin. I got the food, I've got the Manchester vendors, I've got the cars, but then we've got these specialty cars. We've got the guy doing haircuts. We got
that was something.
Angry hair. That was great. That was amazing. I think that's awesome. I think keeping it old school and bringing in a little new school here and there. I think that's a great method of getting that. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, Larry? Anything else you wanted to tell people about Cruisin or anything else like that?
Well, I guess, I mean, our website or our Facebook page or anything, we're open to, people bringing up topics like, oh, maybe we want to try this or try that. We're not trying to just, we want to what the public wants. We want to bring that in too. Obviously, there's limitations on budgets and everything else, but if there's something you think that would help our show and improve our show, we're here to listen to that too. And at the same time, obviously, the biggest thing of all is we're ready to start planning next year's show. So if there's anybody out there that's interested in helping, and it's whatever amount of help you could give us is going to be appreciated, because like I said, there's only it's down to 6 people that are
skeleton crew, right?
And I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I was doing 3 of those people's jobs, and I just know that it's overwhelming. So that if we could get a few more people, obviously it's going to help take pressure off of everybody, and it makes it more enjoyable, because if you're working on it and you're scrambling all the time, it doesn't make it enjoyable. I know I want to just make sure that anybody that wants to volunteer, please give us a contact number or anything, and like I said, there's different levels and everything, and we could use help, obviously. You know what I mean? We're always looking for somebody that's willing to help make the show better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so if anybody's listening and you want to help out, you want to volunteer, you can message them on Facebook, on the Cruisin' on Main Facebook page, or maybe even Gearhead Mafia if they wanted to reach out to Gearhead Mafia.
Yeah, Gearhead Mafia of CT at gmail.com. That'll also get hold of me and the club.
If someone wants to contact me, I've got Larry's information. I can push people to Larry. But Larry, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for talking about Cruisin', and thank you for everything you do for Cruisin', because you do a lot, and everyone appreciates it. That the event's amazing. I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of it and see it this past year. And I really hope that we can continue to, you can continue to make it what it is, and just an amazing show, an amazing day for people.
Yep, there's always room for improvement, so I appreciate everybody that does help, and thank you for inviting me on here.
Of course,
Like I said, hopefully this year's Cruisin will be even better than last year.
Absolutely.
So.
I don't doubt it, man. I absolutely do. Well, thank you so much, Larry. I really appreciate it. That'll wrap it up for us.
The Tiny Podcast is a production of Better Manchester, an initiative of the Town of Manchester in collaboration with the Department of Leisure, Family, and Recreation. For more information on the Tiny Podcast, visit manchesterct.gov. Thanks for listening, and until next time, this is Ryan Ward signing off.